Welcome back, babes. We are here. And, babes, this show is giving us the Sunday scaries in the best way possible.
Oh, I'm taking a very deep breath before we even start. Like, I have to adjust my posture, ground my feet, because if I don't, I'm going to genuinely hyperventilate.
Literally same. I am already just emotionally overwhelmed.
Right. Well, I am pretending to be calm right now. I have my analytical face on. I am projecting absolute serenity, but internally, I am absolutely spiraling. It's a dark, bottomless pit of lore in my brain right now.
My hands are still shaking. So, to the Snark squad listening right now, our third bestie in the room with us, pull up a chair, grab a massive glass because the spicy pineapple margaritas are officially flowing again.
Thank God.
Right. And honestly, you needed them after this masterpiece. I mean, my rim is heavily coated in tagine, the tequila is heavy, and my heart rate is just completely unregulated.
It's mandatory at this point. You totally cannot watch a show that actively psychologically tortures people and its audience without, some liquid courage. But I've been thinking about this whole, horror show drinking energy dynamic.
Yeah.
Because, there's a fine line. Does the tequila actually numb the fear and make the monsters less scary?
Oh, no, it makes it worse.
Right. It just guarantees that if we were suddenly dropped into that terrifying town, we would make significantly worse survival choices.
It is absolutely the second one. Like, the spicy margaritas feel dangerous in a really fun aesthetic way right now while we're in a safe, locked apartment. But if I had two of these and heard, a polite, gentle tap at my window...
Oh, how cute to open it.
I'd be like, oh my God, a visitor, finally some company, come on in. I'd unlatch the window, offer them a drink. I would be the easiest target in the history of the town.
You literally would.
I know, alcohol makes me so aggressively empathetic. I'd probably try to therapy the monsters. I'd sit them down and just be like, so, what is the root of the smiling? Who hurt you?
You absolutely would try to unpack their inner child trauma while they're unhinging their jaws to consume your frontal lobe.
I can fix them.
No, you can't. I, on the other hand, would be 3 sips in, sitting at a folding table, creating a highly detailed, color-coded spreadsheet.
Oh, of course you would.
I'd map out exactly which windows need boarding up, the structural integrity of the talisman's, caloric intake, and then I would immediately drop my glass and emotionally collapse into a puddle the second a light bulb flickered.
See? You think you're so analytical, but your nervous system is, just as fragile as mine, and that's why this show genuinely stresses us out to our core. It preys on exactly how useless we would actually be.
Honestly true.
But you know what else is actively preying on my sanity right now? The family group chat.
Oh my God, please.
The family group chat is still popping off, and babes, somebody needs to save you because your moms will not stop.
It is active, relentless psychological warfare. Honestly, I am treating my phone the way the characters treat the forest at night. Do not look directly at it.
Yes.
Do not engage with the rustling sounds. Just, put up the talisman, turn on Do Not Disturb, and pray the entities go away.
Both your moms are narcissists, so the chaos never truly ends. I'm emotionally exhausted on a cellular level. Yesterday, my mom sent 47 consecutive text messages.
47.
47. And I looked at my phone completely panicking, thinking, oh God, who died? What's the emergency? But no, it was just a massive stream of consciousness about a neighbor's yard decor.
Naturally.
Followed by deeply passive-aggressive comments about how nobody calls her anymore, followed immediately by a random Facebook conspiracy post about the government putting microchips in the tap water.
It's the whiplash, the emotional whiplash of going from, look at these hydrangeas to I am abandoned by my bloodline to the water supply is compromised.
Exactly.
And they always execute this digital assault at the worst possible time. I was literally in the middle of the most tense scene of this episode, when the camera is slowly panning across the dark, silent cabin.
Oh, it's a cabin scene? My God.
Right, and my phone just starts violently vibrating off the coffee table. It's my mother, calling at 11:30 p.m. Who on earth calls at 11:30 p.m. unless someone is actively being airlifted to a trauma center?
Literally nobody.
So I pause the horror on the screen to answer the horror in my hand, and she just wants to know if I remember the name of that Italian restaurant we went to in 2018.
The audacity, the sheer unadulterated lack of boundaries. This is exactly why I mute the notifications. I have to protect my peace. But then, the family guilt creeps in.
Oh.
You mute the chat, you feel free for 2 hours, and then you check it. And there's a standalone message from her saying, I guess everyone is too busy for their mother. I'll just sit here alone with my thoughts. and then you're spiraling.
It's so manipulative.
It's exactly like the monsters. They prey on your guilt, they tap on the glass, they wear the face of someone familiar, and they say, "Don't you love me? Why won't you let me in?"
Wow. The parallels are actually terrifying. I mean, a toxic family group chat is literally just a digital, localized version of Fromville. You're trapped, you can't leave without causing a massive scene, and there are entities feeding on your emotional suffering.
That is deeply profound and honestly deeply depressing. But before we get completely dragged down into the darkness, I need to tell the Snark Squad something very serious.
What?
You've actually lost a little weight recently.
Oh, stop.
You are looking snatched. And babes, we have to ask ourselves, is Pilates actually working, or are we both just deeply, profoundly delusional?
Oh, we are deeply delusional. We are operating on a frequency of pure, unearned confidence. I mean, let's be entirely real with ourselves right now.
No, I refuse to accept that. I am fully convinced the Pilates has fundamentally changed my life and, like, my cellular structure.
You went to 2 classes.
2, yes, exactly 2 classes. But I bought the matching grip socks. I'm wearing an overpriced ribbed set in a muted earth tone from Aloe Yoga, and I am officially a wellness person now. I romanticize healthy habits.
Sure you do.
I literally looked in the mirror after one single 45-minute reformer class and thought, wow, look at that oblique definition. I am basically an athlete.
You were looking at a shadow cast by the Venetian blinds.
Yeah.
Okay, let's be crystal clear here. And yes, you buy the aesthetic. You lie down on the little sliding carrot, you pull the leather straps, your legs shake uncontrollably for 2 minutes, and you think you are Gwyneth Paltrow.
Right down.
But then the class ends. And I need you to be honest about the very first thought that enters your mind before your heart rate even drops back down.
Right.
Because for me, my brain instantly screams, I need an entire basket of deep-fried mozzarella sticks immediately.
Okay, wait.
I am literally daydreaming about marinara sauce while doing the 100.
Okay, yes, the post-class hunger is violently aggressive. But the stretching, the mind-body connection, I feel elongated. And honestly, between the heavy margaritas, the intense physiological stress of watching this TV show, the group chat trauma, and the sheer delusion of our wellness era, honestly, this might just be emotional cardio. We are burning calories just by existing in a constant state of panic.
Emotional cardio? Honestly, I love that term. I mean, my resting heart rate while watching this show is equivalent to a full uphill sprint on a treadmill anyway.
Exactly.
The cortisol levels alone are keeping my metabolism in overdrive.
Exactly. This show is genuinely wild. And to the Snark Squad, if you haven't started watching yet, you need to immediately. It is the most stressful, beautiful, messy, horrific masterpiece on television right now.
It really is. But it forces you into that terrible mental spiral where you have to honestly evaluate your own survival skills.
Oh, God.
Like, we established I would make my spreadsheets, I'd have a beautifully formatted, color-coded map of the town's perimeter, I'd organize the canned peaches, and the exact second, I had to actually run from a monster. I would trip over my own shoelaces, twist an ankle, and die instantly.
You so would.
All the logistical planning in the world cannot save you from absolute blinding panic.
And trusting strangers. That's the real horror. You're trapped in this nightmare town with completely random people from all across the country. How do you know who to trust?
You don't.
Someone could be a literal serial killer and you're forced to share a bathroom with them. We would emotionally collapse before the monsters even got to us.
Oh, absolutely.
Between the family group chat, the margaritas, and the psychological warfare of this show, babes, we are officially spiraling tonight. Let's just get into it. We have to recap Season 4, Episode 5. What a long, strange trip it's been. And my God, it really, truly was.
It was a marathon of trauma.
Yeah.
I mean, let's start with the physical horror because my blood pressure is still recovering from the late scene.
Oh, my God.
Right. So, setting the stage. We are out of the settlement. We have Donna, Tabitha, Ethan, Ellis, Roger, and Patty. And they're standing around looking at this nightmare lake. We left off the last episode with them finding this weird, thick rope descending into the dark water, right? Something massive is bubbling up.
Yes. And before we even talk about the rope, we have to pour one out real quick for Ethan's poor little bird.
Oh, the bird.
Remember, Ethan had this injured bird, and because he processes trauma entirely through fantasy, he thought this lake was the lake of tears from his childhood stories. He genuinely believed that if he dipped the bird in the water, the magical properties of the lake would cure it.
Yeah.
And the bird just died anyway. I was so sad. Ethan wrapped it up so gently in a little cloth for a burial. I was literally tearing up at the loss of childhood innocence.
See, I wasn't sad. I was entirely analytical in that moment. I was looking at that dead bird and thinking, okay, Ethan has a nearly perfect track record of predicting the underlying logic of this town based on his stories. If the bird died, this is unequivocally not the Lake of Tears,
Oh, that's a good point.
which means they're at the wrong body of water entirely. The magic here is dark, not healing. And armed with that incredibly ominous contextual clue, what do? Donna suggests they pull whatever is attached to the rope onto the shore. Ellis agrees, and they all just start blindly hauling this heavy, mysterious mass out of a cursed lake.
I was screaming at my television. My neighbors probably thought I was being attacked. Like, do not pull the rope.
Let me just analytically tear apart the sheer breathtaking stupidity of this decision. You are trapped in a supernatural purgatory where the trees physically move, the monsters smile warmly at you before ripping out your intestines, and the very soil seems hostile.
Right.
You find a mysterious submerged mass at the bottom of a literal nightmare lake, and your first collective thought is, let's drag it ashore and see what it is. Are you clinically insane? Someone on Reddit said it best. Something floats up from the bottom of a nightmare lake, and the first thing you want to do is drag it ashore.
It's so deeply stupid. But Donna, who is usually the voice of harsh reason, was like, we have to sleep here tonight. I need to know what's in the water so it doesn't sneak up on us. Girl, no.
Exactly.
Knowing what's in the water is exactly what is going to keep you awake. Minding your own business is free. Mind your business, turn your back to the creepy lake, and go to sleep behind the locked door of the cabin.
It defies all survival instincts.
But no, they pull it up, the water breaks, and it's these giant, filthy, horrifically disfigured scarecrow dolls.
The visual design of these dolls is pure nightmare fuel. I mean, just the texture of them. The rotting, waterlogged fabric, the coarse burlap, the sheer imposing size of them. Anything life-sized and humanoid that is intentionally submerged at the bottom of a lake is an immediate, visceral, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
And Donna, to her credit, realizes almost instantly that hauling them up was a catastrophic mistake. She takes a hunting knife and just starts aggressively stabbing one of the dolls in the chest to see if there's anything biological inside it, like flesh or bone.
She was violently jamming that knife in. I love that energy. Donna does not hesitate. But it was just wet stuffing, so they realize, oh God, somebody intentionally tied these demonic things down with heavy rocks to keep them at the bottom of the lake. We need to sink them again.
Which, again, brings us back to the logic. If they were tied down with rocks, why did you bring them up?
It's maddening. So they're frantically stuffing the dolls' chests with heavy rocks to sink them back into the dark water. But while this chaotic manual labor is happening, Tabitha has a flashback. The camera pushes in on her face. She looks at the stitched, rotting faces of these giant dolls, and she remembers playing with smaller, toy versions of them when she was a little kid.
This gave me full-body chills.
Me too! She remembers playing with them, and she tells the group that there was a man in her childhood who had terrible, chronic nightmares about these specific dolls. They gave him such bad nightmares that he eventually took the dolls and threw them deep into the lake. And then, when that man died...
His nightmares literally came out of the lake.
Yes. Oh my God.
Stop right there. We have to unpack this because this is a massive foundational lore drop. If we connect this back to season 2, Sarah had that whole chilling theory about her brother Nathan.
Wait, the cicadas.
Yes. Nathan was terrified of cicadas. He thought they were monsters. And when Nathan died in this town, what happened? The cicadas didn't just stay a memory. They literally manifested as a physical, biological swarm that started attacking people.
So the town operates like a horrific, supernatural 3D printer.
Exactly.
It scans the brains of the people who die there, finds their most primal, unresolved childhood terror, and literally prints it into the physical ecosystem to hunt the living. That is the most horrifying concept I've ever heard.
The mechanism of the horror is so insidious.
It's not just a physical trap of being stuck in a town. It's a trap that weaponizes your own subconscious brain against the people you love after you're dead.
Right. Because death is not an escape in Fromville. When you die, your trauma, your fears, your literal nightmares are absorbed by the town's soil and spit back out to torture the people who are still alive. It's a completely sustainable ecosystem of suffering.
Sustainable suffering.
The town doesn't need to invent new monsters. It just harvests the fears of its victims. It is brilliantly, sadistically terrifying.
I can't even handle thinking about what would manifest if my personal nightmares came to life. Like, we'd have monsters that look like me showing up to a high school math final with no pants on, or monsters that look like my toxic ex-boyfriend trying to explain cryptocurrency to me for 3 hours.
Honestly terrifying.
Truly.
But, so, back to the dolls. They think they've sunk them successfully. They go to sleep in the cabin, and it's quiet. Ethan is sitting next to Donna, and he looks up at her and says, I like it when you're around. It's just not as scary.
And the exact second those words left his mouth, I yelled at my screen, Ethan, stop giving Donna compliments. You are damaging her plot armor.
He totally jinxed her. In a horror show ecosystem, a sweet, sentimental, vulnerable moment like that is a literal death sentence. You do not tell the tough, hardened leader that she makes you feel safe right before the sun goes down. It's the ultimate jinx.
It is begging the universe for a jump scare, and sure enough, they are sitting in the dark, the tension is suffocating, and suddenly the solid exterior wall of the cabin just explodes inward like the Kool-Aid Man from hell.
The jump scare was masterfully executed. I mean, even though the promo trailer kind of spoiled the fact that a doll breaks into the cabin, the sheer kinetic violence of the breach was shocking because these aren't just slow, shuffling, haunted dolls. They are fast, they have mass, and they are incredibly brutal.
Roger, poor, unfortunate red shirt Roger.
Okay.
The doll lunges, grabs him by the face, and literally rips his lower jaw completely off. The gore, the sickening sound design of the tearing flesh. I was screaming. My hands were clamped over my face. I was just peering through my fingers. It was so brutal and so fast.
And I'm sitting there completely stone-faced going, well, there goes Colony House red shirt number 7.
You are so cold.
You know the narrative rules of this show. If a background character we barely know suddenly gets speaking lines and goes on a dangerous field trip with the main cast, they are exclusively there to serve as a meat shield. They exist solely to demonstrate exactly how the new monster kills people, so the main cast knows what the stakes are.
Wait, no, stop. You are being entirely too cynical. The man had his face violently ripped open. He had hopes. He had dreams.
Did he?
And then it's pure blinding chaos. Patty, the other background character, gets separated from the group in the dark, and a doll grabs her by the back of the head and shoves her face directly into the blazing fireplace.
Which, by the way, during all this chaotic violence, where was Ellis's tactical mindset? Ellis tries to play the action hero. He sees the massive doll burst through the wall, he runs up, and he gives it a little hockey shoulder check.
I mean, he tried.
Which does absolutely nothing to a magically animated, rock-filled murder doll. And then his brilliant secondary strategy is to run into a bedroom and lock a hollow wooden door behind him. Ellis.
Okay, yes, the door was dumb.
The thing just exploded through a solid exterior wall. What is a hollow interior bedroom door going to do?
I will defend Ellis. I love Ellis. He is so brave. His instincts are to protect. But yeah, the door was not it. And then Donna, my queen, my absolute rock, the foundation of this society, gets grabbed from behind and starts getting brutally choked out by one of the dolls.
That was intense.
I was losing it. I truly thought Donna was a goner. I was ready to draft an angry email to the showrunners.
But then Tabitha finally connects the dots from her suppressed childhood memory. She realizes the lore rules. She remembers how to actually herd them. She grabs one of those weird, twisted wooden totems they found scattered around the settlement, and she stabs the doll that's choking Donna right through its chest.
And it actually works. The magic of the totem disrupts the magic of the doll, and it drops dead.
Which means the totems are weapons. But here is the craziest, most terrifying part of that entire sequence. The talismans. The sacred rocks that normally keep the smiling monsters out of the houses.
They did nothing.
They did absolutely nothing to stop the dolls. The dolls just walked right past the talisman hanging by the door. And after Tabitha kills one, another doll just slowly turns around and casually walks away into the dark woods. And its hands are literally on fire from the fireplace.
Just a casual, leisurely stroll into the tree line with flaming hands. The visual is stunning, but we have to look at the lore implications here because they are huge. The Nightmare monsters do not follow the established rules of the nocturnal, smiling monsters.
Right.
The talismans only protect against one specific localized threat. The town has layered its horrors. The magic system has tiers.
Exactly, which perfectly transitions us to the other massive horror of the episode, Jade's mushroom trip. Tabitha physically fought a manifestation of a childhood nightmare, but Jade arrogantly thought he could outsmart the town by taking the fight entirely into his own mind. He thought the mushrooms would give him an objective truth, but he forgot the town controls the mind too.
Oh my God, the shroom spiral. This entire sequence was a cinematic masterpiece of editing, acting, and psychological terror. So Jade decides the absolute only way to get answers from the town is to consume the magic mushrooms they found in the woods.
Naturally.
He sets up a little safe space in the sheriff's station, asks Boyd to be his trip sitter, his anchor to reality, and gives him a safe word. Safe word. Capricorn.
which is such an inherently Jade safe word. It's pretentious, it's astrological, but it's structured. And the editing trick here is completely brilliant. We see the mushrooms kick in, Jade's pupils dilate, he starts seeing the neon motel sign pointing toward the woods, so he and Boyd leave the station and go out into the dark forest together.
Yes.
We, the audience, fully and completely believe they are walking through the physical town.
Right. I completely bought it. I was fully immersed. I'm watching them walk. Boyd is asking him grounding questions, and then Jade looks up and sees the giant, horrific spiders crawling all over the trees and dropping onto himself.
And let's note the visual continuity here. Those spiders look exactly like the ones that attacked Boyd in the woods at the end of Season 1, and the exact same spiders that Victor is always obsessively drawing in his crayon pictures. The imagery of the town is looping. The fears are recycled.
The spiders were so gross, I was physically gagging on my couch. But Jade pushes past the hallucination, and he hears a haunting violin playing in the distance. He follows the music through the trees, and he sees a young boy standing in a clearing playing the violin. And it's him. It's young Jade.
And the psychological profiling here is incredible. He's playing the specific song he used to play for his grandmother when she died. It's a memory steeped in deep, foundational grief and loss. Jade realizes he has to ask the town a direct question. He literally screams into the void of the forest, demanding the town show him what he used to know, demanding it show him how to help everyone leave.
And the town answers, but in the most twisted, vile way possible. Suddenly, that creepy one-eyed man with the gaunt face appears, and he's holding out a human skull filled to the brim with thick, dark blood, chanting Anghkooey.
So disturbing.
And Boyd, his trusted anchor, is standing right there saying, "Just drink it, man. It's not real. Just drink it so we can move on and get the answers."
But young Jade, the manifestation of his uncorrupted inner child, warns him. Young Jade looks right at his older self with pure terror and says, "Don't do it. The answers you seek come wrapped in painful truths. You're going to remember things you do not want to see."
But Jade, in his infinite arrogance, takes the sip anyway. And Babes, watching him drink spider-laced, coagulated blood out of a dirty human skull, physically wretched.
It was incredibly visceral.
The texture, the thick blood staining his mouth, it was so nasty, I was screaming at the screen to look away.
But the payoff is immense.
Yeah.
What happens next is arguably the biggest lore drop of the entire series. Jade walks up the hill to Colony House, and he sees all these different men standing on the porch from different eras in different clothes, all playing the violin.
Oh my God, yes.
And the realization washes over him. They aren't just random ghosts of past victims. They are past versions of him, including Christopher, the man from Victor's childhood who went crazy and caused a massacre. Jade has been reincarnated in this town over and over and over again across centuries.
My jaw unhinged and hit the floor. Reincarnation, the cycle of souls. But it gets so much worse. It's so dark. He's talking to young Jade, trying to desperately understand what happened to all his past lives. Why did they all fail? And young Jade drops the absolute devastating bombshell. He says the monsters didn't kill them.
The townspeople did.
Yes.
This is the sociological horror of the show laid bare. Every single cycle, Jade, or whatever his name happens to be in that specific lifetime, figures out the truth of the town. He figures out that he is the designated savior, that the creepy children in the woods are calling out specifically for him.
Right.
And once the terrified townspeople learn the truth, that he's connected to the supernatural elements, they turn on him, they blame him for their suffering, they hate him, and they brutally murder him. It is pure, unadulterated folk horror.
So tragic.
It's the mechanics of mass hysteria acting as a survival mechanism. The town doesn't even have to get its hands dirty. It just uses human paranoia to execute the threat.
I was crying. It is so tragically unfair. He is the only one actively trying to save them. He is bearing the mental burden of the universe, and they murder him out of pure, ignorant fear. And then young Jade looks at him with dead eyes and says, "And Tabitha, her fate is even worse."
Worse.
Worse. What in the name of God is worse than being hated, blamed, and violently murdered by your own friends?
Exactly. Let's extrapolate this. What is worse? Being eaten alive by the man in yellow, being trapped in the claustrophobic underground tunnels forever in the dark. We know for a fact now that Tabitha was Miranda in a past life, Victor's mom, and we know Miranda was eaten by the monsters.
Oh my God.
The implication that this vicious cycle of human betrayal and sacrificial slaughter happens every single time is stunning. The true horror isn't just supernatural monsters with sharp teeth, it's the depravity of human nature under pressure. The town manipulates the people you trust most into tearing you apart.
It's so utterly hopeless. And then Jade, spiraling completely, finds a hidden, ancient wooden door in the basement of Colony House. It leads down into the dark tunnels, and he finds the actual sacrificial chamber where the Anghkooey kids, the crusty, emaciated little children in white, were originally murdered.
And suddenly the smiling monsters surround him in the dark.
They physically threw him into a heavy stone tomb with the mummified bodies of the kids, and they slide the lid shut. They bury him alive.
The claustrophobia of that shot. The heavy stone lid sliding shut, grinding against the rock, shutting him in the pitch black with a mummified child whispering Anghkooey directly into his ear. And then Jade wakes up violently screaming, and he is sitting right back in the chair in the sheriff's station.
I lost my mind. I had to pause it and scream into a decorative pillow. The fake out. He never left the chair.
It was so good.
The entire walk into the woods, the spiders, the skull Boyd never went into the woods with him. Boyd has just been sitting there patiently watching him trip out and sweat in a wooden chair for 3 hours.
It is a brilliant, manipulative editing trick. Everything we just watched, the entire harrowing journey, was a layered hallucination, entirely contained within the confines of Jade's mind. The Boyd he was talking to in the woods wasn't Boyd at all. It was just his own rational consciousness trying to guide him safely through the trip. It was a mind palace, constructed entirely of trauma.
But then, Jade looks at the real Boyd. His eyes are wide. He has this aura of absolute delusional confidence, and he goes, I know how to save the children. I know how to get us all home.
And this is where my analytical brain pushes back hard against the narrative he's selling us.
Yeah.
Jade wakes up from a drug trip where his own subconscious, his inner child, just told him explicitly. The town manipulates the townspeople into murdering you the exact second you try to execute a plan. He literally watched himself get buried alive. And his immediate arrogant reaction is, I have a great plan to save the day. Can we actually trust this? Is his brilliant solution actually just the town planting the exact idea in his head that will trigger the townspeople to turn on him? Is he just blindly hitting play on the cycle of his own murder?
Wait, no, I refuse to believe it's a closed loop. I have to push back on your cynicism here. If it's a completely closed loop, there's no show. We're just watching people die for no reason.
That's the horror.
What if Jade's awareness of the cycle is the exact variable that breaks it? What if, because he knows they will turn on him, he can outsmart the paranoia? He has to be the hero.
You are hopelessly optimistic. He's playing right into the town's trap. He thinks he's the hero, but he is a pawn on a board he doesn't even understand yet. And frankly, the town is primed for a murder cycle right now because the messy, toxic, interpersonal drama back at the settlement is reaching a dangerous boiling point. The paranoia is already there. Which brings us to the psychological warfare of Sophia.
Oh my God, Sophia. She is the ultimate messy instigator. She is actively playing psychological games with these traumatized people, and she's practically giggling while doing it.
She really is.
Yeah.
So Marielle's lying in a bed in the clinic ambulance, physically and mentally drained, dealing with the aftermath of almost dying. Sophia, who we all know is deeply suspicious, casually walks in, bumps into Marielle, and intentionally grabs her wrist.
And the exact second skin-to-skin contact is made, Marielle is violently thrown into this horrific hallucination.
Yep.
She hallucinates being chained up to the wall right back in the nightmare where she was trapped with the cicadas, the sheer panic on her face. But it's so much worse now. She isn't just trapped. She starts hearing static on the ambulance radio. And through the static, she hears screaming, the agonizing screams of every single person who has ever died in the history of the town.
It's deafening. Marielle wakes up, gasping for air. And she articulates the horror perfectly. She realizes there is something ancient, something incredibly old and starved in this place that is actively feeding on their suffering. And the most devastating philosophical line of the episode, she says, even in death, they are trapped here.
I know.
Nobody ever crosses over. If you die, your soul just stays here, screaming and suffering in the ether, acting as a perpetual battery source for this ancient evil.
I was openly crying on my couch. The sheer, suffocating hopelessness of that concept is just too much. It means there's no peace. Ever. And what does Sophia do in response to Marielle's breakdown?
Oh, she's terrible.
Sophia, who is clearly either the man in yellow in disguise or an avatar for the town's evil, leans in, looks at a weeping, traumatized Marielle, and maliciously whispers, maybe God chose you to be a prophet.
The shade, the toxic, deeply malicious shade. She is aggressively gaslighting Marielle, framing this horrific demonic torture as some sort of divine, holy purpose. She's just playing with her food. She loves the drama of it all.
She does. She's wandering around town just poking people's raw trauma with a stick to see what happens. She's messy. And speaking of raw trauma, we have to talk about Henry's absolute breakdown.
Oh, this is a tough watch. The generational grief in this scene is heavy.
It broke my heart into a million pieces. So Henry, Victor's dad, is completely hammered. He's found a bottle of booze, and he's sitting alone at the piano in the dark at Colony House, drunkenly, sorrowfully singing Leaving on a Jet Plane.
Yeah.
And it's because Victor finally, after all these years, told him the awful truth. Victor showed him the childhood crayon drawing of the man in yellow actively eating Miranda, Henry's wife.
You really have to look at the psychological weight Henry is carrying. Henry spent decades in the real world, outside the town, mourning his missing wife and child, hoping they were out there somewhere alive. He finally, miraculously, gets pulled inside the nightmare town, finds his son aged into an old man, only to learn his beautiful wife was literally cannibalized by a smiling demon in a yellow suit.
It's so dark.
The absolute grotesqueness of that knowledge completely destroys his reality. And Victor is standing there in the doorway, clutching his lunchbox, watching his dad fall apart, reverting right back to the traumatized little boy who had to watch his mother die.
I was emotionally devastated. I needed a minute. Victor has lived his entire life in this nightmare, holding on to this pain alone, and now he has to watch the one person who was supposed to save him, the adult in the room, absolutely crumble under the weight of it. It's so unfair to Victor. He deserves a parent, and instead, he has another broken person to take care of.
And while this deeply poignant emotional scene is happening in one part of the town, we have absolute reality TV chaos happening at the clinic. Julie and Randall are screaming at each other.
Oh my God, they were going at it.
And it is so messy. Julie is having these massive, terrifying physical seizures because she keeps recklessly trying to use her story-walking magic to enter the ethereal plane and save her dad, Jim. Randall is yelling at her, calling her an idiot for frying her own brain.
Randall is such a jerk about it. His delivery is so aggressive and belittling.
He is a jerk. His bedside manner is non-existent. But analytically speaking, Randall is spitting absolute facts.
I mean, I guess.
She is risking her life with a magic system she does not comprehend. She has had multiple grand mal seizures. She is going to end up permanently brain dead if she keeps pushing this ability. Somebody had to yell at her to stop. And the absolute best part of this entire tense scene is Marielle's entrance.
Yes. Marielle, completely traumatized, still hearing the eternal screams of the damned echoing in her ears, walks into the clinic room while Randall and Julie are viciously screaming at each other about magic seizures, and Marielle just stares blankly at Julie and goes, "Your haircut looks nice."
I died. I absolutely died laughing. The diabolical timing of mindless small talk amidst unspeakable trauma.
Yeah.
This is the most realistic human coping mechanism I've ever seen committed to screen. Like, I'm currently processing the damn souls of 1,000 murdered townspeople, but those curtain bangs are really framing your face nicely, Julie. Did you use layers?
It's exactly what we would do. If you can't fix the supernatural horror, complement the aesthetic. It grounds you. And speaking of bizarre aesthetic choices, we have to address Fatima.
Oh boy. The mud golem. The arts and crafts project from hell.
Fatima is terrified, and her pregnancy hormones are completely warping her reality. She tells Kenny she's so scared she's going to look out her window at night and see her dead monster son, Smiley, staring back at her. So she's coping by building a massive mud golem to protect everyone, a giant champion made of dirt, spit, and hope.
Which is very poetic and steeped in rich mythology, but let me put on my practical, analytical hat for a second. Fatima is building a massive, heavy, life-size, densely packed dirt monster on the 3rd floor of Colony House.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about the weight.
Exactly. Hello, catastrophic water damage. Hello, imminent structural collapse. You are hauling hundreds of pounds of wet mud up 2 flights of rotting wooden stairs in a house that is already falling apart from termite damage and age.
That's what...
Boyd is out in the woods fighting for his life against nightmare dolls, and he's going to come back to a massive sinkhole in the ceiling because Fatima decided to do heavy-duty pottery with a ton of wet topsoil in an upstairs bedroom.
You are so practical, it ruins the magic of the moment. Let her have her dirt baby. But you're right, the logistics are an absolute nightmare. This whole episode is a logistical and emotional nightmare, which means it is time for us to structurally debate this chaos. Let's get into segment 1. Who would die first?
This is exactly why Ellis's wooden door strategy annoyed me so much. We need to do this segment right now because half these characters are actively asking for it. Looking at the side characters in this episode, realistically, based on their psychological profiles, who is surviving this horror chaos and who is dying immediately?
Okay, I have to target Patty. The redheaded lady at the cabin. Yes, she survived having her face shoved into the roaring fire, but let's look at the bigger picture of human nature. She just watched Tabitha completely understand how to kill these dolls. She watched Tabitha calmly say, I remember these from my childhood. What is Patty, a terrified normal person, going to do with that information?
She is going to snitch.
Yes.
Immediately. She's going to run her mouth.
Exactly. She's going to run back to town, completely panicked, and tell everyone that Tabitha has a creepy, intimate connection to the monsters. She's going to be the catalyst for the town turning against Tabitha and Jade. Which means, according to horror movie rules, Patty is going to cause a massive, violent riot, and then she is absolutely going to get killed in the crossfire of the mob she started.
That is a highly valid, sociologically sound theory. I am going to target Ellis. I know you love his bravery, I know you defend his honor, but I am going to roast him into oblivion.
Leave Ellis alone.
The man tried to shoulder check a magic murder doll that had just exploded through a wall. What did he honestly think he was going to accomplish? Did he think he was going to play linebacker against a supernatural entity powered by ancient grief?
He was trying to protect the group. His instincts are pure.
Pure instincts do not stop blunt force trauma. And then, his second brilliant tactical move was running into a bedroom and locking a hollow wooden door behind him. The doll just walked through exterior siding and 2x4s like it was wet tissue paper, Ellis.
He panicked.
Your little brass bedroom lock isn't going to do anything but delay your death by 2 seconds. He relies entirely too much on physical strength in a town run by ancient, ethereal magic. He's going to try to punch a ghost one day, and he's going to die first.
I hate that you make sense. I want him to live, but you're right. Okay, let's pivot to segment 2. Biggest red flag. Who exhibited the most deeply suspicious or delusional behavior this week? I am nominating Sophia.
A strong, undeniable choice.
She is literally playing with her food. She touches Marielle's wrist just to intentionally send her into a panic attack, and then calls her a prophet just to mess with her deeply held atheism. She is enjoying the psychological torture of these people. That is a massive red flag.
Oh, totally.
She isn't just surviving the pound. She is thriving on the drama. She's producing the reality show from the inside.
Sophia is definitely an agent of evil, but my nomination for biggest red flag goes to Jade. Specifically, his pure, unadulterated, delusional confidence. And that exact arrogance is why I have to bring up his final scene again.
Delusional confidence is my favorite aesthetic, but go on, tear him down.
He wakes up from a drug trip. A trip where his own inner child explicitly clearly warned him, the town will trick the people into murdering you if you try to save them. He literally watched himself get buried alive by the consequences of his own actions. And his very first words upon waking up are, I have a great plan to save the day.
It's so painfully true. He learned nothing.
It is a massive red flag for his sanity and his ego. He's completely ignoring the neon warning signs flashing in his own brain. He is so desperate to be the smartest guy in the room, the savior of the story, that he is willingly walking into a trap because he genuinely thinks his IQ can outsmart an ancient deity. It's arrogant, it's deeply delusional, and it is going to get a lot of innocent people killed.
Okay, fair. His ego is out of control. Which brings us to segment 3. Could we survive from? We've joked about this, but let's genuinely spiral about our own survival chances based on the new rules we learned this episode. If the town acts as a 3D printer and nightmares literally come to life, what are we dealing with outside our windows?
Well, if we are dealing with physical manifestations of our deepest, most primal fears, my house is going to be surrounded by monsters that look like unfiled tax returns and public speaking engagements where the microphone doesn't work.
Oh my God.
I would open the door, see an auditor with a clipboard and a disapproving scowl, and I would just surrender my soul to the forest immediately. Take me, I'm done.
I would be dealing with monsters that look like deep, dark ocean water, just walking, suffocating waves of freezing dark water knocking on the glass. But honestly, the polite, smiling monsters are still what would get me in the end.
Of course.
If a monster knocked on the door, smiled perfectly, and complimented my matching Pilates outfit, I'd be like, oh my God, thank you so much. I got it on sale. Come in and let me tell you about the fabric blend. I have zero impulse control when I am externally validated.
You really don't. A monster could say, great shoes, and you hand them the keys to the talisman. And I would spend so much time trying to figure out the structural integrity and historical origin of the talismans that I'd forget to actually hang one up before the sun went down.
We're doomed.
We would not survive. We would be the tragic, cautionary opening kill of season 1.
We would be the people the main cast finds the next morning.
Okay, final segment. Family group chat horror. Let's compare the psychological horror of this episode to our own family group chats, because I see undeniable parallels in the behavior.
The parallels are striking and deeply upsetting. Is Sophia instigating drama with Marielle exactly like a toxic aunt, dropping a highly controversial, wildly inaccurate political meme in the family chat on a Tuesday morning, and then just logging off to watch the world burn.
Yes, she is. It is the exact same psychological profile.
It's the exact same energy. She drops the bomb, watches everyone start fighting in all caps, and just sits back sipping her tea.
And what about the reincarnation loop? The horrifying idea that Jade and Tabitha are trapped in this town, making the exact same mistakes over centuries, and the townspeople turning on them every single time.
It is the sociological equivalent of being trapped in a holiday dinner argument. Every single Thanksgiving, you know the exact script. Uncle Bob is going to say something wildly inappropriate. Your mom is going to cry and play the victim. You're going to try to intervene logically. And somehow, by the end of the night, everyone is going to blame you for ruining the dinner.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's a closed loop of generational trauma. You think this year will be different. I've grown. I know how to save the dinner. And then boom, you're getting verbally murdered over the cranberry sauce by the people you love.
It's folk horror. Family dinners are literal folk horror.
Yeah.
We are living in a psychological thriller every time we open WhatsApp. Oh my God, I am so stressed out again. My heart rate is spiking. Drink your margarita. Take a deep breath. Ground yourself. We survived the recap. We survived the spiral. The entities cannot reach us here.
Barely. But babes, that is all the emotional bandwidth we have for tonight. Thank you so much to the Snark Squad for hanging out, for drinking with us, and for surviving this absolute chaotic spiral of an episode.
You guys are the best.
But before you go, I need you to go into the comments right now and answer these specific questions for us because we need community validation. Number 1. Is Pilates actually real or a giant scam? Please be honest, my fragile ego heavily depends on your answer.
Number 2, could you genuinely survive from? And be realistic with yourself. Think about your actual phobias manifesting outside your bedroom window.
Number 3, what is the absolute worst, most toxic family group chat behavior you've ever experienced? Spill the tea, we want to read the mess. And finally, number 4, what is your go-to favorite horror comfort drink to get you through the Sunday scaries?
Let us know in the comments. And of course, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It feeds the algorithm, which is an ancient, hungry deity we are actually very happy to appease.
Yes. Appease the algorithm so we don't get trapped in the tunnels. We love you guys so much. Stay spooky, stay messy, and we will see you on the Snark side.
Stay spooky, stay messy.